Hi guys, welcome back. I am your host, Amanda, and today we're gonna dive into the top 10 myths of Botox. So I actually had to Google search these guys. We get questions about Botox all the time, but I wanted to see what the top 10 myths were. So we're gonna start. Number one, Botox is toxic and nobody knows long-term effects. Yes, technically Botox is toxic. It is a neurotoxin, but let's break it down. Everybody knows what the long-term lasting effects are. Botox has been around for over 50 years. And here's a fun fact for you that a lot of people don't know, is they've been doing Botox on children as well as elderly and everybody in between for over 50 years in their head. And I'm not just talking about right here for like wrinkles, guys. I am talking about like way deep in here. The average Botox client gets anywhere from 20 to 50 units. When they do it back here for like migraines and things like that, they're doing 100 to 200 to 300 units. So think about these people that are getting 200 plus units every few months for several years. And we now have over 50 years of clinical data to show what's going on. So to say that we don't know the long-term effects, that is debunked right now. Myth number two is that Botox will give me a, let me put my phone back because I love to use quotations, frozen look. Okay, so fun fact, absolutely it can give you a frozen look. Me personally, I prefer the frozen look, but most of our clients do not. We are in Highlands Ranch, which is South Denver. It is a beautiful suburban neighborhood and the majority of our clients want to look very natural. You can give a very natural look or you can give a very frozen look. It really depends on what the client wants, how much Botox we're putting into the skin. So you don't have to be freaked out that you're gonna look like one of the Real Housewives and no one's gonna know any of your expressions. We can make it still look soft and natural with very minimal movements. So that way your husband still knows that you're mad at him. All right guys, so the next myth we're gonna talk about is that Botox is like this magic eraser. So I wanna be very clear. I kind of think it is a little bit, but it's not 100% true. So let's get down to brass tacks when it comes to that. Can Botox remove wrinkles? Yes and no. Here's what Botox does. It is a neurotoxin that is injected in certain spots into the forehead and other places on the face. And what that neurotoxin does, it goes into that muscle and relaxes that muscle so it doesn't make contractions. So I always like to tell people, especially our new clients, when they're like really freaked out about, am I gonna be, so frozen? Is it gonna remove all the wrinkles? It's never gonna, I'm never gonna have a wrinkle again. That's not how it works. If you think of somebody who was in a coma and they don't move their legs at all for 6 months, well, they wake up from their coma, they're eventually gonna be able to move their legs again. Similar with Botox. It is gonna make it to where that muscle doesn't move, but once the Botox is gone, that muscle is gonna move again. So it's not gonna get rid of the wrinkles forever. But here's one thing I wanna dive a little bit deeper into as well, because people then get excited on the other hand, because they think, oh, I'm gonna use Botox, it's gonna remove my wrinkles forever. So if you have a deep wrinkle right through here, because you've made these contractions over and over and over for the last 30 plus years of your life, that wrinkle is still there. We're gonna dive all into the layers of the skin in another video, so please stay tuned for that. But I wanna back up. So if you have a wrinkle right here, you guys, from your muscle contractions, and then you now use Botox, so it's gonna soften that, you still have that deep wrinkle. But what happens is the longer that those muscles don't make those contractions and your cellular turnover keeps working, eventually that wrinkle kind of fades away because of cells shedding off and the new skin coming up that's no longer making that contraction. I hope that makes sense. At least it does in my mind. So yes, it can smooth wrinkles out. It doesn't always do it the first time. Sometimes it takes several treatments. And sometimes it doesn't get rid of it at all, right? So just something to know about. You always wanna make sure you're talking to a licensed professional about Botox. Your girlfriend may have a completely different experience than you do. You guys have different skin, different muscle movements, different muscle strengths. So please don't think that just because it happened to your girlfriend one time, it's gonna happen to you every time. So that actually gets me into our next myth, which is if you stop getting the Botox, it makes the wrinkles worse. Absolutely 100% false, false, false. I cannot tell you how false this is enough. So I don't know why people think this and I don't know where the hell it came from, but let's go back to that whole, you're in a coma so your legs don't move for 6 months, right? Does that mean that now once you're out of the coma and your legs start to move, that you're never gonna be able to move them again or that they don't move as good as what they used to? Absolutely not. There's no scientific evidence for this at all. So think about it. You have that neurotoxin in your forehead, these muscles are not moving. for about 3 to 4 months is kind of standard. So you decide you don't want to get Botox again. So those muscles are going to start to move again, right? They're not going to be worse than what they were before because there's nothing that caused them to be worse. All it did was temporarily paralyze them or temporarily relax them for 3 to 4 months. There is nothing that's going to make it worse, period. So yeah, guys, it's not going to make it worse by any means, okay? We're gonna do a whole other video just about wrinkle formation and how they make the movements and then how you get rid of wrinkles. And Botox is one way to get rid of them because it's temporarily paralyzing that muscle. Again, I could talk about wrinkle formation for hours, so we'll talk about that in another video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But next thing I wanna talk about was once you start, you can't stop. That pretty much goes to what I just tagged on just a second ago about you can stop at any time, you don't have to keep up with it, it's not gonna look worse. We already answered that. Okay, so another one we get a lot is it painful? So I have to be real with you guys. I don't think it's painful at all. I have had some people who are deathly scared of needles freak out a little bit over it or say that it's not the most pleasant thing ever. On a scale of 1 to 10, because that's the scale I use for everything, 1 being I don't feel anything, 2 being holy hell, this is the worst thing ever, get me out of here. You're like a 2 or a 3. I mean, it's like a little pinch, it's a little tiny poke, but it's not bad at all. The majority of our clients say that it's nothing, but we have had a few people that are like, oh, I don't really like it when like that needle just first gives that little poke. So if you've ever seen like an insulin needle, they're pretty tiny and Botox needles are just about the same. Okay, you guys, so another one I just Googled is Botox will affect my whole body. That could not be farther from the truth. If Botox was able to spread that much, then nobody would be able to move after they get Botox. So especially the women like the Real Housewives that do a ton of Botox. And I make little jokes about the Real Housewives. I'm a fan of the Real Housewives and I get a ton of Botox too, just so we're clear. But so, okay, think about it like this. We're gonna put the Botox here, 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 right? All these little areas. If it was gonna go to the rest of my body, then I wouldn't be able to move anything else, right? So no, it does not affect the whole body. It doesn't move. We tell you not to work out or lay down for 4 hours after your Botox appointment because we don't want it to move. Can it shift a little bit? Absolutely. But will it affect your body? Not at all. Again, remember what I said earlier in this video about the children that were getting 200 plus units back here? If it's not affecting their body, your 20 units right here isn't gonna affect anywhere else of your body. So you don't have to worry about that. Another thing is that it's permanent. It is 100% not permanent at all, which is why you have to come back every 3 to 4 months, which is why, again, we talked earlier about like, if you want to stop doing it, is it going to make things worse? No, none of that. It's not permanent. It's about every 3 to 4 months. It's not painful, all those good things. Now let's see what the last myth on Google search is for this. So actually, sorry, there's 2 more. So one is that it's only used to treat wrinkles. And then the second one is that Botox and filler are the same. And that could not be farther from the truth. So 1, it does not just treat wrinkles, it can soften anywhere. There's a new thing that a lot of med spas are doing now called the lip flip, and where they're just injecting a little bit of Botox here to kind of soften, to give you a little bit of a more defined lip or a little bit of a larger lip up top, especially for those who do not want filler. Okay, and so now we're gonna dive right into that last myth, which is Botox and fillers are the same thing, and that could not be farther from the truth. So Botox is a neurotoxin. You inject it into a muscle, hello, the forehead, for migraines and stuff back there, or like we just discussed, a little bit of the lip flip here to soften this heavier muscle through here. A filler is used to fill and expand a space. So think about women that have, or men, that have those deeper wrinkles through here, and then they fill those to fill in the space. When you get lip injections, what are you doing? You're making your lips bigger, so you're filling them. So a filler is filling space. A Botox injection is just going into that muscle to soften and relax those movements within that muscle. It's not filling any space at all. So if you guys have more questions or anything like that, please feel free to leave a comment below. You can hit us up on Instagram, on Facebook, through our website, purityskinstudio.com, and I look forward to next time with some great content.